Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Flank. I'm joined by some of the best analysis in the game. Give it up for the world champ himself, Christopher Duarte Parasite. We got the multi-world champion, the multi-champion, a legend, an icon to the Call of Duty space. Give it up for Patrick Price Aches. We got the executive producer, Mr. Benjay Nassim. And to my left, we got our real executive producer. Give it up for the one and only Riley coming in from OpTic. What's going on, Riley? How you doing, bro?
Good, man.
Long day, huh?
Yeah, very long day.
Yeah,
I'm happy to be here, though.
How was it, bro? How was the watch party? How was everything?
Bro, it's crazy. I mean, I'm sure you guys got it over here as well, but a lot of love going around on the Friday. I think the schedule overall was a big W. The event is insane. Love being at Dreamhack. So, yeah.
They killed it, honestly. Like, the venue looks crazy. I know Asim was telling me about the CSGO side, too, that it was crazy over there, just packed. Apparently, Illy's in the chat. Everybody show some love to Illy, man. Obviously, Illy put out a little announcement today on the timeline that he's retiring, and I definitely want to show some love to Ender, bro. He's had an amazing career. He's a world champion. He's a multi-champion. He'll always be a legend to the Call of Duty scene. That's the Pope right there. And, yeah, man, everybody just show my man Illy some love. I don't know if maybe he's not in the chat. I don't know. People saying he's not in the chat. But regardless, I was going to say anything anyway because Illy's a legend, bro. And I just wanted to give him his flowers before we start the show. I don't know if there's anything you guys wanted to say about Ender.
No, I think wish him best of luck in the future. I know he obviously had a great run at the beginning of the CDL. Won that event in Vanguard and just has kind of struggled to consistently put together since then. So, hopefully whatever he's doing post-COD career works out for him and he has a great rest of his life.
Yeah. Oh, they were spamming Wiley for Riley. I thought they were spamming Illy. But yeah, guys, we got a lot of matches today. Go over today. We had 9 matches today, guys. So we're gonna give our thoughts real quick.
Hi to Slaya.
What? I was still doing my intro,
I know,
bro.
but you never tabbed Slaya.
I'm gonna tab the Slay in. I was gonna tell him we got 9 matches. I was also gonna tell him that Sam, guys, is not joining us today. Sam, he hasn't slept in 2 days. So Sam, I told Sam to go get some rest. Sam doesn't need to be on the show. He needs to go get some sleep. So Sam will be on the future on the shows this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. But yes, we also have the Slayer. We got Pat in the call. He's not here with us right now, but he is in the call. Pat, what's going on? How you doing?
Good, Tom. Doing good. I wanted to say something, bro.
Of course, Pat. The floor is yours.
We've been talking about the plumber era now for a while. And it doesn't surprise me to see some of these teams getting absolutely shit on after having to play back-to-back games. I want to talk about the Surge for just a second, not long.
Okay.
They obviously they got shit on game 1, couldn't regain, insta loss. Like, that is what this format provides. So when people talk about like the formats of the past and now, bro, this is the situations that happen, and that is why the unks and the old heads say it was harder to win then, because you had to be perfect for 12 hours a day, 3 days straight.
Right.
And I think, we don't get these formats often, Tom, so I want to gas them up when we do.
Yep.
Because this is what is needed for any competitive esport, bro. That one match a day, this isn't professional sports. That one match a day shit is whack. Esports is about a marathon, bro. Being godlike, no matter who you face, what time of day, how many matches you got.
Yep.
I just wanted to call that out.
And then maybe we should give gas to Minnesota because they lost that first series. We'll get to it in a second. But they won 2 straight today.
It's the opposite. They got hot, and they made a run on a day. That shit matters, bro.
Yep.
Like, that shit is important, and it makes events so much better.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's a perfect gateway to get into our first match of the day because it is
that's
actually...
That's your executive producer right there, Tom. I know exactly what I was
that's
doing.
good work, Benjamin. That's good work from you. That's actually first match of the day. We have the Minnesota ROKKR going up against Miami, and this one ended up in a 3-0 fashion here. What's going on? I can't go full screen.
I think you just hit the F11 on the
it's just F11? Oh, thank you. Say executive producer Riley. Thank you very much. Benjay doing absolutely nothing. Miami Heretics get the 3-0 victory today over the Minnesota ROKKR. Miami coming out strong, and it was a good one. We had a close map 1, Hardpoint Skyline. That one was 250 to 210. Then we go to a dealership search. Miami's S&D has just been unbelievable. 6-1 in the S&D. And then Volt Control 3-1 there. So Minnesota having a really hard time here against Miami. We'll scroll down here, take a look here at the stat sheet. We had a .96 for medals today, close to the power play. Then we got Real with a 1.52. We got Rencor with a 1.0 and Super with a 1.02. On the other side, everybody negative except for Nero, who, by the way, Nero was unbelievable today for the Minnesota ROKKR. He was on one. We'll see him throughout the rest of the series from Minnesota. But Nero with a 1.03 in this one. Match MVP most likely going to be Real because he cooked with a 1.4 in hardpoint, a 1.75 in S&D, and a 1.63 in control. What a series from Real. Chris, we'll start with you. Duarte, what'd you think of the series?
I mean, not surprised by the result. Really happy to see Miami, continue to put their foot on the gas pedal. That first map was a little dicey, but they ended up getting it done. And then, in true Heretics fashion, they took care of business in the search and destroy, not even close. Came into the vault, carried that forward. Minnesota took a round, but at the end of the day, Miami was just a better team.
Yeah.
On the ROKKR side, still want to show love to Nero. I think on that first map, he dropped 40. He was fighting back. I think today, you'll see in the rest of the series that he played today, I think he had 3 straight hard points in a row where he dropped 40 to 50 kills, which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
The form that kid was hitting today. But yeah, insane series out of Real. He had a really slow stage, last stage, so it's good to see him kick up. But yeah, they get the job done and they move on to play the Thieves tomorrow.
Yeah, what do you think, Benjay? What were your thoughts?
You scroll up. I want to see what did Minnesota ROKKR veto to get dealership in this pool.
Looks like Miami got rid of Rewind Hardpoint. ROKKR got rid of Hacienda Hardpoint. Then Skyline Hardpoint was Miami's pick. Red Card Hardpoint was Minnesota's pick. Minnesota got rid of Hacienda S&D, and Miami got rid of Rewind Search.
And Minnesota picked dealership against Miami.
A big dealership.
That's an interesting choice.
You think that matters, Ben DeVitos? I feel like Miami's winning those at the S&D no matter
really
what the map is.
Miami's kind of really good. I think Miami's probably winning the search anyway, but I feel like dealership's on their bread and butter.
Yeah, they've lost it once, so it's the Thieves.
So, I just think the map one was close, and then Miami was always going to be kind of plus on the S&D, and then from there, we know that Miami's vault control has been pretty solid all year.
Yeah.
I think the test for Miami, we felt pretty confident to get past this. I want to see what they do against Thieves tomorrow. And for Minnesota, they kind of rallied hard after this series. They made a little bit of a run. Nero was unbelievable. Tom, if you click map 1, you can see exactly the stat line that Nero dropped in this one. 40 and 29 for the L for his team.
Yeah, that's tough. There was one map today where he had 45 and nobody on his team had 20 yet. I was like, dude, that is insane. He's just doing it all. But Nero really showing out. What about you, Pat? What are your thoughts on our series, Pat? Miami, they look good. They come in. I think they didn't lose in the stage, right? Weren't they undefeated this stage, or did they lose this stage? I'm pretty sure they were undefeated.
They went undefeated.
They're undefeated.
If you click overview, Tom, real quick.
Yeah.
I was happy with this series, Tom. I'm a Real fantasy guy right now, and wow, is he getting me points?
You're in the playoffs, huh, Pat?
Yeah, of course. I'm in second right now. But Chelly only has 2 players, so his averages are fugazi. I got all 4 players in the playoffs.
He's
I'm still looking good. But yeah, this was look, Heretics slapped these guys. Let's be honest.
Yeah. These guys got
but I think to Chris's point about Nero, man, I'm gonna say it again. This is another time where it's Nero was hot all day today. He was just on fire, and maybe the best player in the venue today. And you don't get to see that on one match days. He got to play 3 series where he was just frying all 3 because today he was just on one.
Yeah.
Obviously his team couldn't help him out in this one, but yeah, Heretics I think are just a step ahead, ROKKR, a couple steps ahead to be honest. And when you got Real shooting like that, it's just not much they're going to do.
Yeah, Real had one of those Real series where he just popped the fuck off. But what about you, Riley? You got any thoughts on this series?
Nothing really to add. I just think Miami, they've looked like a top 4 team the entire stage. They showed up here and played like a top 4 team. Minnesota kind of played up to, I think, expectations coming into the match. There was a lot of criticism, I guess, in the last couple days about maybe some of the Heretics players and their play style and the way that they like to play maybe in search. But none of that really seemed to matter here in the series. They showed up, they showed out, and they did their thing to move on to tomorrow. Yeah. But
we'll be seeing Miami, obviously, moving forward in the tournament. We'll see Minnesota ROKKR more as they try and make the losers bracket run. But let's move on to the next series. Have 9 series to cover today, guys, so we're not going to be spending as much time as we usually do on some of these series.
And we have a couple of smoke show 3-0s off the rip, too.
Yeah, and it's true, Benjay. Some people are getting absolutely fucking worked on here at Dreamhack. But let's switch on over.
Speaking of.
Speaking of getting absolutely piss slammed, Benjay.
Don't scroll.
The Vancouver Surge had a rough one. I mean, guys, I'm gonna be honest. This series might have been 30 minutes long. Like
This is a short
this
one.
flew by. Like,
Real timers. Right
I
there.
swear, I blinked and it was over. Skyline Hardpoint 250 to 103. Dealership S&D 6-2 and Hacienda Control 3-0. LA Thieves won all 3 maps with ease. We'll scroll down here. Take a look.
No, don't do it.
I have to, Riley. I have to.
Oh,
man.
Oh.
Oh, man.
No.
The Vancouver Surge is not looking good here in the KD department. We got a .64 from Neptune, a .73 from Nasty, a .75 from Abusa, a .46 from 04.
04 dropped to .04.
Wow. On the
Other.
other side, you got a 1.29 from Scrap, a 1.6 from Hydra. What kind of papaya do they got over here in Texas? Because Dan Ghosty had a 1.84 and Dylan Envoy with a 1.55. LA Thieves, man, just unbelievable today. We'll scroll down and take a look here at the match MVP. It's going to be Dan Ghosty with a 1.78 and Hardpoint, a 2.33 in Surge, and a 1.8 in Control. Pat, I kind of want to start with you on this one. Vancouver, what happened, Pat? What the hell happened to these guys?
I mean, listen, I hate to be that guy, okay? But a few months ago, I had a take on the Surge. If you guys recall, I said, look, these guys are looking good, but I don't think it's going to last. And obviously they went and got back-to-back seconds at 2 tournaments. But granted, they got absolutely world starred in the grand finals of each of those. But I fear I was just early on that take. I don't think I was wrong on it. I was just a little bit early. But again, I don't think these guys have what it takes to be champions. I don't think they can handle any adversity. That leads to why they get world starred in the grand finals every time. And then we saw it today. Like, they had a tough loss and then they just disappeared.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, I think they have talent. I do. But I think they lack a lot of other things that are required to play at this level. They obviously had a rough stage, and I think that, we talked about when they made this change, they kind of just played different. They played ratty. Neptune was obviously absolutely crushing it. I think teams have just figured them out, and I don't think they're gonna last. So that's kind of my take.
Yeah.
On Surge. Ray's not gonna like it. I'm sorry, Ray. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm not expecting them to come out at champs and show us much.
I think their problem, Pat and Chris, I probably assume you agree. They're not a good enough search and control team when they get smoked in a map 1 like this to instantly regain and take momentum. That's why these series have gotten south, because when they've lost those first maps in the grand finals, they've gotten a world start in the S&D and the control. So they got to figure out how to just be better at all 3 modes.
Oof. Riley, what'd you think, man? This was a rough series for Vancouver. I've never seen them get shit on like this.
No, not in a while. I mean, Dan had the takeover, started off the Skyline, 17-6 or something crazy. Yeah. Just popped off. Surge did not play up to expectations. I feel like they're a team that we talk about a lot, like having a lot of really solid teamwork that even in matches where you might look at it on paper and think that maybe they're out-talented, they've managed to sort of play above expectation for the last 2 stages just by the fact that they seem to work really well together, playoff info, and have good, clean comms. I don't remember a listen in the series today, but they did not look like they had the same cohesion that we've seen from them the last 2 stages.
Right.
And, I mean, that's going to cost you against a team like Thieves who's coming off winning a major and is looking to take over here right before champs. So
For sure.
I think they just got out-talented and out-prepared maybe a little bit, and Thieves just did their thing.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Duarte? You think they're losing their cohesion, like Riley said a little bit, towards the tail end of the year? What do you think?
I wouldn't be so quick to jump the gun on it, but everyone has a bad day of COD, and this was a horrific day of COD for them, and this is definitely the Duarte series of the day.
No.
They didn't stand a chance. 30-minute series in and out of the venue. Sucks to see because we think highly of Surge prior to this, but that's what happens when Rambo comes on and presses you, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Rambo came on and he was talking because I guess we just, he felt like that we weren't critiquing Vancouver like we do FaZe and Thieves. But what do you think, Ben? You think Rambo had a point, or you think Vancouver's been struggling here a little bit? I mean, to be honest, Vancouver's looked good up until this point right here. I mean, they got bodied today. They couldn't get a kill today. I don't know what happened.
I mean, my thought on Vancouver is I just don't, bro. They have been consistently a pretty solid R-point team. But I just think when they go up against teams like this, they're just not good enough at S&D control consistently to just grind out a series like this. You know, we've seen the likes of Thieves and FaZe. Sometimes you get smoked map 1. Okay, we regain on the map 2. We take that swing control, and maybe we close that in 4. Okay, we go 5. We got that. I just think Vancouver does have that factor, and that's something they got to figure out between now and.
Yeah, watch your mic a little bit, Ben. It's
I
cutting
think
out,
I'll just say the thing.
We obviously see Vancouver here in a match here in the future, so we'll get to that. I mean, we expect Vancouver to bounce back, but we'll talk about that one when we get there. But let's go over to the next series of the day. We got Atlanta FaZe going up against Cloud9. This one ended in a 3-1 finish for Atlanta FaZe. Cloud9 was able to get a map on the board. It was that dealership S&D where they were able to win that one 6-4. But FaZe, they look good in the hard point, 250 to 142 in the rewind hard point. They win the control 3-2, and they win the Skyline hard point 250 to 151. So we know FaZe has been struggling a lot on their hard points. We've been critiquing them heavy on trying to clean up that game mode, and today it didn't seem to be a factor for them. But we'll scroll down and take a look, and it's another red carpet, second red carpet of the day. Capsule with a .68, Kremp with a .93, Sib with a .81, and Sparks with a .86. A rough day here for Cloud9. On the other side, you had a .88 from Abizi, but everybody else positive. You had a 1.17 from Selim, a 1.36 from Drazen. What a series from Simp, with over 100 kills in a lobby in this one with a 1.49. Simp doing Simp things. We'll scroll down and take a look at the match MVP. Doesn't surprise me to see Simp here with a 1.91 in hardpoint, a 0.5 in search, and a 1.26 in control.
In hardpoint? Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, we'll start with you with Atlanta FaZe. I know you've critiqued a lot on the hardpoints. We kind of been ragging on them about it, and they come out and they win 2 hardpoints, but they lose the search. So an interesting series here from FaZe, but they get the job done. What did you think?
So let's talk good, bad for FaZe. I think the good is the hard points were very clean, both them, the Skyline and the Rewind. And I think especially when you think about the teams that they're going to square up over the course of this tournament, having that Rewind, which they've been consistently good at, in their bag is great. But if they don't want to play Vault and they want to square Skyline, Skyline's really good. It's going to give pause to teams like an OpTic or a Toronto, about Miami, about that angle. So if they've got those in their pool, I feel really good about FaZe and the hard points. The S&D was a little bit weird of a map. There were some team kills. It was Zach got a weird issue with his car. They really struggled to get the level of first bloods they get consistently, and I'm a little concerned about that. Hopefully they can clean it up. The control, I think, was fine. It was just a gritty hacienda. I think the one thing for FaZe want to see is a little bit more from Tyler Abizi. He usually turns up against OpTic, but I think he kind of a rough one in this series and was a little bit of a passenger on the side.
What'd you think, Riley? What'd you think of the series?
Pretty much the same thing. I feel like Cloud9, Zen said this morning, he thought that, this series could get mixy, and it looked like it might be going into that Hasi control.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was winnable for Cloud9. I think they had a lot of situations where they just made a lot of mistakes and let FaZe do FaZe things that, from the outside looking in, seem like you should be expecting it in those situations,
right?
And they just let it slip right through their fingers. They had chances to close out and push the series potentially to a game 5, but I think they just kind of collapsed at the end of the control and then fell apart in the last hard point. So I mean, FaZe looking better in the hard points. We know they've been working on that. We don't get to see a map 5 in the series, but I think it easily could have gone that way had Cloud9 played a few situations a little bit differently there at the end. But FaZe looking good, and when they're getting rolling in the hard points and the respawns, that's not good news most of the time for the rest of the league, especially when they're in a position to have a matchup against a good OpTic team to get some good reps tomorrow. And whether they win or lose, that's only going to give them some confidence or some fire going into the rest of the tournament. So
for sure, yeah, I think mistakes are important, right? If you make mistakes against a team like Atlanta FaZe, right, they're going to punish you for it. So they got to clean those mistakes up, like Riley said. It hurt them today. But what about you, Duarte? What were your thoughts on the series?
I mean, it's good to see FaZe get 2 hardpoint wins. That's a map and mode that mode they've struggled in. Prior, they lost to Search and Destroy, but I think with how good they've been in Search and Destroy throughout the season, I'm going to go ahead and write that one off as just maybe just having some issues or having a bad day or bad game mode. Outside of that control got really mixy, and I do agree with you, Riley. They could have easily forced that or won that map and been up 2-1, and then maybe we would have gone to a map 5 and who the fuck knows who wins that one, especially with so many Neslos coming in today. Like, it could have happened, but at the end of the day, you got a big turn up out of Celium, Draws, and Simp to pretty much just make sure that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And on the side of C9, I mean, I think Capsule just had a really, really bad series. And the rest of them didn't really play.
He had like 90
good enough.
plus 92 deaths in 4 maps.
He was running it down, bro. He wasn't shooting his gun. He was probably just tunnel vision, trying to do too much. He thought,
7K damage.
He was doing his best, but unfortunately his best was not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's how Capsule plays, right? He's so hyper aggressive that today might have got the better of him. He just has to go back and kind of see where it went wrong, because it's almost like his timings were off today and he was just getting caught. But what do you think, Pat? What do you think of the match, Slay?
Well, before I talk about the game, I got a question for Ben.
Yeah.
Does Abizi owe you money?
No.
Do you have like outstanding beef with
my thing with Tyler is, I think first off, his S&D play all season has been phenomenal. I have no criticisms there. There's a reason that we always talk about him being up there in the pantheon of best S&D players and maybe best S&D player of all time. I think his respawn this game this year has been super inconsistent. It's just, I know a lot of aggressive subs have this, but it would help their team and get them to another level if he can consistently have an impact. I think their inconsistencies at times on Hossie is when he really struggles to get that sub, get in the closer open, and get 1s and 2s and hits routes. So if he can figure out his game and his timings, it really opens up the map. And the way that they play fundamentally, I think they would win maps a lot cleaner if he can sort it out.
Yeah, what do you think, Pat?
I mean, I don't disagree with you on the take that like he's not playing his best COD, but bro, there's only so many kills that they can get. Like you got Simp having a 1.5, Draws with a 1. Like where do you want him to get kills?
Yeah, the first map Simp was everywhere too. I mean, he was going crazy. And Abizi went 22 and 20 first map. It's not like he played bad.
Both hardpoints were convincing to me.
This series, he struggled in the S&D, he struggled in map 3, and he struggled in map 4. So I mean, that's kind of how it goes. I just think. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be...
but you can't struggle when your team is hard carrying.
Listen, I know what you're saying, Pat, but this is not just a one-off series where... Look, if Tyler drops a .95, I don't give a shit. But, like, in series like this, if he goes up against an OpTic team that's going to slay a lot better than C9, and he is dropping a .88, it's going to be a little bit tough for them. That's the thing. If they want to win this event, all 4 players got to fry. Today, the 3 teammates, I think Zach had a lot of impact plays. MC especially had some impact plays as well. Want to see Tyler kick it up to the gear that we know he has, and they can definitely win the last major of the season.
Yeah, Pat, you got any thoughts on a series? Thoughts on Cloud9?
I mean, Land's a tough ball game, Tom.
Yeah, it's a different game, Slay. It slows down a lot.
I saw Cloud. I don't know if y'all saw this, but did y'all see Cloud9's Twitter post?
No, I didn't. What did they say?
I mean, I don't know if you should pull it up on stream, but basically they listed out the last 3 event logos. And then was just like, and the first picture was my favorite places or the top 10 places I've been fucked or something.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, we definitely probably should pull that up.
Yeah, maybe
I
we
was mind
shouldn't
blown.
pull
They
that
tweeted it. But yeah, that kind of just sums it up for me. I mean, Cloud9 has just been getting shit on, bro. I mean, it doesn't matter what roster they have. I just think this camp is been asked all year.
Yeah, I disagree. I think this C9 team.
You don't think they've been asked all year?
They've been consistent all year, but I don't hate this C9 team.
Consistent. Wait, see, you're talking about C9?
No. So here's my thing with C9. I think right now, for all the reasons we've discussed over the last couple of weeks, there's pop-off potential here, but they make too many mistakes. I think they have an opportunity now, if they're going to run it back with this lineup, to spend basically 7 weeks to like really refine the way they want to play and come to EWC and make an impact. Because I think they have the talent to go deep in a tournament like that, but I think to your point, Chris, they just make too many fundamental mistakes.
I just don't know if that's going to happen.
Like,
yeah, they got Lamar on there, and Lamar is like a great fundamental, teacher. He's done it with a lot of his teams, but I think this team is just young. And yeah, like Spart and Cap have had like a couple experiences in the league, but they haven't been with like insane teams. So like realistically, this team is just so young and inexperienced that I doubt they're going to be able to make up that sort of ground in such a little time. Although I don't mind.
7 weeks?
Is it 7 weeks?
Well, because they're not going to champs.
Oh yeah, they're not going to champs.
So
yeah, they're going to be scrimming for a while.
And then they got a month after that. Yeah,
they got time. So yeah, you're probably right on that. But I just don't see it, dude. Like I don't know. I think all these guys are good individually, but it's kind of like maybe not as like maybe as not as much as like LAG, where it's just a bunch of people coming together to kind of save a roster. But like, I don't see this roster being long term like at all.
I think, I'll be honest, I think Dante's stock took a big dive this season. I think he was been super consistent all season. He did not play well today. Dante needs to have a big EWC. If he wants to get on a better team or do a better job of recruiting people for next season and making changes, he's got to figure it out. Because of all these individuals, Krem's always inconsistent. Sports actually played not terrible in his team. Caps obviously up and down.
Great.
I thought Dante, when they needed him the most today, was not there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he definitely could have played better, but they're playing against FaZe, and yeah, I mean, they didn't have a good day either. But at the same time, like, I don't think Dante's stock has taken a dump, dude. I think this guy's still like one of the best ARs. He just
he gets in one of those. When is he showing this year?
He had a couple of stages where he was.
I mean, bro, to
for
be
his
fair,
team,
we've talked about this, bro. Like, if you're on a shit team,
yeah, exactly.
It really doesn't matter how good you are, bro. Like let's just use Merc. Like, Merc just came in the league. He looked phenomenal. But if you slotted him in on this C9 team for Sib, guarantee you he looks like shit. Like, it's how it works, bro.
Yeah.
If you have a bad team, you cannot excel.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have Dante going to the Falcons. I feel like that's like people think he might potentially go there because of just AG and obviously, they've had struggles with their ARs, but it wouldn't surprise you to see. Does anybody know what his contract situation is looking like?
But I think C9 is the kind of org, if someone came for a buyout, they would do it. But again, I think for Dante, he needs to end the season on a strong note.
Oh, Jack will do business. Jack will do business.
Yeah, Jack's been doing a lot of business. But Dante's got to have the final event of the season, even if they get 8th or whatever. He's got to fry at that one and feel like he's got some momentum if he's on C9 or whoever after that.
Yeah, but let's move on. Slay was just talking about Merc, and he did his thing in this series. OpTic looking a lot better since bringing him in. OpTic Texas going up against Toronto Ultra. Not only do they do it online, but they do it on LAN. OpTic Texas with a 3-1 victory over Toronto yet again. Volt Hardpoint to start things off, 250 to 184 in that one. We got a dealership S&D 6-4 there. A protocol control 1-3 Toronto. That was the only map they were able to get on the board. And then a red card Hardpoint where OpTic Texas were able to close it out, 250 to 176. We'll scroll down here and take a look at the stat sheet, and it is another red carpet. What is going on today? People are getting absolutely slammed. Joda Seas with a .95, Insight with a .83, Kleenex with a .89, and Beans with a .87. On the other side, you had a .95 for Merc, but everybody else positive. You had a 1.3 from Hook and a 1.23 from Shotzi. The Sun Machine Gun players from OpTic Texas having a field day today. Dashy with a 1.08. Good plays all around there. We'll take a look here at the match MVP. Doesn't surprise me. This guy has been unbelievable. Hook with a 1.54 in Hardpoint, a 1.14 in S&D, and a .81 in Control. Hook has been unbelievable. I'll start with OpTic. One, I just want to show some love to Hook because I think we've been waiting to see Hook. He's been good on LAN, but he hasn't been like takeover, which is kind of like what we've been talking about. He's had his moments, but today he was unreal, just all over the map, making plays left and right. And then Shotzi. Shotzi was another one who I felt was working off of Hook really well today. It seemed like they were kind of hitting form and hitting rhythm. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I feel like since they brought Merc into the roster, bro, their pacing just looks so much better. They all look so much more comfortable on the map. Even Dashy looks more comfortable. And I think at first it was a little weird bringing Merc in for Bruce, and I think he's getting more comfortable as time goes on. And I said it during the watch party, and I'll say it again. I think OpTic's clicking, and I think they're clicking at a good time of the year. This is the perfect time to start getting some wins on the board and start gaining some momentum as a squad. And I thought they looked good today. They obviously play FaZe tomorrow, and we'll get there. But I think it's going to be a tough matchup tomorrow. I think it's going to be a really good series. We'll start with you, Ben J, and then we'll work our way down. But what did you think of the series, Ben?
I thought OpTic's teamwork today was excellent. I thought this is like the way that they were working through situations in the hard points and in the S&D. I think the Control is a good map for Toronto. OpTic made a few mistakes. They can go back and clean that up. I think if you're an OpTic fan, you feel good about where the team is progressing going into that big match against FaZe tomorrow. I think for Toronto, they were just mega off today. I think especially with Impact slaying from their subs.
I don't think we can say mega off today anymore, bro. We keep saying this about these guys. I think they're.
You think they're just 100% just off?
I mean, I think OpTic has been getting better, and I think Toronto is slowly getting worse. So that's just my opinion. I don't know what's going on with Toronto right now.
Not slowly, Tom. Not slowly. Rapidly.
But it's your boys.
Yeah,
These are 2025 Call of Duty champions.
I mean, Pat, what do you think? Because even Kleenex is tweeting about it. Even Toby tweeted. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know what's wrong with him.
They were my boys when they had Merc on the roster, and I was screaming at the mountaintops to fucking make the hard call, drop one of your inconsistent ass ARs, and put this guy on the starting lineup. Because again, I was sitting there right after the event screaming to do it, and now they're losing to the guy. Like,
bro, they should have kept him, bro. I said the same thing. Like, bro, you got to bring Merc in,
It was the most obvious move. And I know Kleenex and Insider buddies or whatever, and this team has great chemistry. Who cares? We're in a league where you have to have the talent on your team, bro.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously Merc wasn't the deciding factor in this series, but it's they had a chance to upgrade, and they passed on it to just decline for no fucking reason. And yeah, I mean, bro, the problem is people just don't think like that anymore. They don't make the tough decisions when they have to be made. And I mean, as a Toronto fan in general, I'm disappointed in the entire franchise, but also on the players. Like, you are complacent. Like, in my eyes, as a player, I view you as complacent if you don't make moves like that. You have clear upgrades, and you'd rather stay best friends with people and just be like, oh, we're top 4. So yeah, for me, Toronto's a complacent team. Again, I think they're continuing to decline. I think it would take a lot for them to turn it around. I think Kleenex and Joe are great. Don't get me wrong. I think those guys have been great all season long. But yeah, they fumbled hard here. And then on the side of OpTic, I mean, kind of what you said, Tom. I think Kyler had one of those days where he looked insane. You know, we've talked about that before. Sometimes he just does that. I'm curious to see if it continues. Like, normally with Kyler, you don't get those consistent days back to back to back. So we'll just have to see what happens against FaZe. Yeah. I mean, it's tough for me to judge online, right? Like, I'm always looking at LAN only when I'm judging, you know, moves like you know, performance like that. But yeah, I mean, and even on Toronto, I mean, they went and then obviously had a sloppy series where they barely got it done in the next series. So
yeah,
I think Toronto again has declined. We saw it start in their online stuff. It's continued here. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how OpTic matches up against FaZe tomorrow. I think that'll be the true test for me.
Yeah, it'd be a good match. I mean, what do you think, Riley? I know you were over there with the OpTic boys during the watch party. I'm sure it was a good victory to see here today for the boys. I mean, what'd you think?
Yeah, no doubt. It was a great series. I just start off by giving my flowers to Kyler as somebody who's like, I have had a soft spot for him since my days on my time with him on LAG. So like, I always want to see him doing well. He's just one of my favorite people in the league, on top of being one of my favorite players. So to be with him and as a part of this roster and to see him doing well, I just want to kind of give him his flowers, because I think there's something to be said of like how quickly people sort of like want to move on or forget about certain things. When we saw in MW2 when Kyler came into the team, they had back-to-back undefeated qualifier stages and went to back-to-back lands and placed second, where he performed really well. So I think we're seeing Kyler get back to the land potential that we know that he's capable of. And he's quietly had like the number 2 respawn KD for the entire season up through this stage going into the tournament. Yeah. So I just feel like he's kind of been slept on as a player. Because of maybe his history or past performances or whatever, and being held to that standard as opposed to like what's actually been taking place in the game. So yeah. I love seeing him play at this level. It was cool watching him take over today. But I think overall I agree with everything you guys have said. Like even just the listen in today, and watching what was happening on the mini map, there was just clear, decisive, like, I know where this guy is. I'm picking this route. I'm taking this route. I'm backing up and blocking. Just a lot of really efficient, quality communication where it didn't seem like anybody had any questions about what was going on at any particular time. They played situations really well, even on the map for Red Card, where it looked like Toronto was starting to chain a couple hills together coming off that P5, and OpTic only needed like 14 seconds or so on the P1. There didn't seem to even be any panic, even as the lead kept coming back in. They just played their kills efficiently, got some time here, finished a 4 wipe, and got the time to close out the map. So it was a really strong series from the guys. Overall, super impressed with Kyler, Shotzi, Brandon, and Merc translating the online performance to LAN. And I think, like Pat said, the match tomorrow should be a really, really solid one between a team that's really hot in respawn right now and a team like FaZe that's always going to be consistent across the modes, but especially in search. So.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with the comms. I even said it today in the watch party, but you heard everyone. You heard Dashy, you heard Hook, you heard Merc, you heard Shut. Everybody was talking where, there's been instances where we go into listens with teams and you hear one or two guys and then some people are quiet and they're not really adding to the comms. Today it just felt like, you just felt the cohesiveness from OpTic with the comms, and you've seen it in their gameplay, right? Like you can see it with the decisions they're making on the map. So it was good to watch. Even Ben, you mentioned their teamwork, right? It was just on point today. But what about you, Duarte? What'd you think?
Yeah, I will say that I think that OpTic, I called them to win this series because I think lately they've just been playing up to their competition. When they play these higher end teams, even when they had Caesar against that Surge team, like they've been winning these series and they've been playing really well. For some reason, Hook and Shotzi, this is now twice. We saw it online, we saw it again on land. They just pop off against the Ultra, so wasn't really surprised. But my main thing about this, at least on the OpTic side, was you called it that listening for Kyler, bro. That guy was not only like dictating what people should do, but he was calling out, like he was almost making people play around him and helping make decisions so people didn't have to second guess. It was one of those things where you didn't see it because you're watching Codcaster, but you could tell that Kyler was dead, and in those like 2-second respawn waves where he would see a guy's screen, he would instantly realize what that guy, like his teammate, was doing and be like, leave this guy, just go do this. Like in between his lives, like he was micromanaging like a motherfucker, and you saw it in his listen, you heard it in his listen, and he said that everyone's been contributing to that, which I have no doubt because it's shown in their gameplay, but I don't think he's giving himself enough credit because to do what he's doing, pop off like that and be an SMG player, that is hard as fuck to do. Yeah. And then on top of that, Shotzi, great series. Brandon had a 1 point whatever, but he also had the most damage. So I think Brandon is one of those players that he's been a little bit quiet. He's been doing all right, and maybe his KDs haven't been extreme, but I think when Brandon is putting up those high damage numbers and at the very least going positive, I think he's just being very efficient. On the side of Ultra, though, yeah, I mean, they should have definitely picked up Merc. Like, that guy, they got the...
He's gross, bro. Merc is so good.
Yeah, they got a really good placing with him. They pretty much placed the same as their well-prepared Ultra team prior to that, right? They got the same placing,
They were
right?
a better team as a pickup
Exactly.
team.
They were a better team, if not the same team at the very least with the pickup. And that's so, like, rare that you should have probably at least explored that, because now, potentially, with more time under your belt, they could have probably been better, if not more consistent. Because right now, I don't think you're getting the production out of the ARs that you really need to. And yeah, everyone didn't really play that good, but I'm taking the sub duo over the AR duo any day on this roster. So yeah, I mean, it's tough to see, but I mean, I'm happy for OpTic. I want this team to do good. It's better when they're doing good, and yeah, they're peaking at the right time.
Yeah, I said that too. Right, we want to see these guys at champs, right? Wouldn't be the same without having OpTic there. So
wouldn't be the same without the reigning champions to defend their title.
For sure,
at the end of the day.
sure.
Shout out Twisty, man.
Yeah, shout out Twisty, bro. What a legend. But let's move on to the next series. Well, obviously, we'll get our predictions. We'll see. We got FaZe OpTic tomorrow. We'll get to that at the end. So we'll visit that when we get there. But let's move to the next series of the day. Now we get into the losers bracket. We got the Minnesota ROKKR going up against the Boston Breach, and this one ended in a 3-2 victory for Minnesota. Boston come out hot, 250 to 130 here in a rewind hardpoint. Then we got a red card S&D where Minnesota went around 11 there, finally showing some ice here. Then we got a vote control. Boston, they bounce back 3-2 there. They go up 2-1 in the series, but then Minnesota win the next two, 230 to 229 in the Vol hardpoint. Weird stat line there, and then a 6-1 in the dealership S&D. So good to see Minnesota finally clutching up some of these series. We'll scroll down, take a look here at the stats. We got a .93 from Cammy, a .92 from Big Wake, a .87 from Purge, a 1.02 from Snoop. On the other side, you had a .94 from Ezreal, a 1.14 from Geo, a 1.08 from Kenny, and a 1.14 from Nero. 117 kills.
That's crazy.
In the series.
And 103 deaths is just absolute pace, bro.
Unbelievable. Nero, 1.19 in hardpoint, 1.8 in S&D, and a 0.8 in control. I mean, one thing about Nero is he's got that left stick. He's got that go button, and he's not afraid to chow, and I love that about him. Just really setting pace here. But, Ben, why don't you start things off? Boston, they come out and they get slammed here. Well, not slammed. They would go to a last map, but I honestly thought Boston was taking this series. And
I thought they were taking map 4. I mean, this series kind of came down to that map 4. The ending of that Vol hardpoint was nuts. It came down to time. I think maybe Snoop could have sat in Hill. I mean, go back and watch the play if we want. And then I think Boston kind of crumbled after that, and Minnesota just kind of cleaned in that.
Minnesota? Jesus.
Minnesota kind of cleaned on that 5th map. I think, to your point in the beginning of this, I think they showed a lot of ice today. They showed a lot of grit. Nero really stepped up. I think this was the progression Minnesota needed to keep their season alive, basically, because they got to get second in order to make champs at this point.
Go ahead, Pat. You better say something?
Bro. Yeah, about that play. I mean, that's just a rookie mistake, bro. Like that's just a hard point rule 101. If you take the lead and the other team has to contest and you know they're close, you just don't fight. You contest the time down. It's the guaranteed win almost every time.
Yep.
Getting out, letting the team, jump in and not drain the clock in a contest state, like that's just how you're asking to lose. So like that's just hard point 101 in my opinion. I think maybe in the moment they didn't realize that, but that should be just a rule for teams, like
Yeah,
knowing when to play the clock in hard points.
I actually thought that they made a big mistake. Like at the end of the vault, I think there was like 1 or 2 seconds left, and Snoopy was in the P2, and they had just gotten the lead, but he didn't read the pressure well because he got off the point and ran away because there was 1 or 2 seconds left on the play clock. Right, they went up by 1, so he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna get off and just let the time run out." But I don't think he realized that Minnesota was right there, like the hop in the hill. So as soon as he got out, they got in. And then they took the lead and won the kills and then got out and won, right? Where, in my opinion, if you're Snoopy, you got to read that pressure, sit in the hill, and even if the contest comes in, you win the game, right? Because when the contest comes in, the time goes down, and you get that
W. The way
W.
they played it was like they thought it was over.
Yeah.
That's how it looked like they played it. Like they thought they had won.
Yeah,
like,
for
no
sure.
matter what, as soon as they took the lead, they won. But that's
Yep, and obviously,
until the clock strikes 0 or you hit 250, the game ain't over.
yep, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I would want to at some point. I mean, probably not on this show, but like even just tonight, like go back and watch
The timing.
Yeah, because I'm like, if I remember right, I thought the person who crossed the hill was like alive in Cat, and so I was like, did they not get the info? He had to be like Cat or Army or somewhere in that area. It just seemed like they didn't have the read on, like you said, where the pressure was coming from or where the last person who could have contested the hill was, and just sort of flew out the back door. It was mind-boggling because I think we all thought that Boston was guaranteed to win it.
Yeah, they make the good plays. Like Perja gets the kills. The trades go down, but it's Boston who win the P2 spawns, right? They get the flips. Everybody from Minnesota is coming out front. Snoopy's laying down, so he calls the streak, right? So after the streak comes down, a couple kills go down, and again, another wave comes in, and Snoopy gets the info here. So he knows there's a guy close catwalk. He knows they're coming from mid and cat, right? And then as soon as they get the lead, he gets out of the time, and then Minnesota floods in, and then you could just see how it just all collapses. Just like, especially, it's even worse because he called the streak. So you have the info, right? So I don't really know what happened there.
And Nero was weak, was he not? Like, I thought he was just in a gunfight before he chowed out of the hill there. And then he just, like, crossed for free.
Let me see here. He probably was. Yeah, I think he was
So
weak.
I thought he was weak, Cat.
Like, I mean, I feel like right there, too, like, you're getting waves. Minnesota's so staggered. Like, you just chow it. Just chow it and win another fight. And worst comes to worst, just stay down in hill and just have your teammates look over you.
Wow. I mean, look at the route that, dude, if Cammy went to the front side of the truck instead of, like, around Lion, if he would have gone in front of the catwalk instead of towards the Lion Arch, he probably would have killed Nero crossing the hill. But instead, he goes around that wide arch, and as soon as he goes around the wide arch, Nero actually just walks in through the front. You'll see it if you look at the mini map.
Yeah, I'll pause it when it happens.
It's crazy how that small of a timing like that just lost them the game, even though Snoopy could have theoretically still sat in the hill and probably dragged out the clock. But look at where Cammy is, right? Cammy cuts immediately to his left instead of just walking forward. This probably does not happen, and they win the game. Also, if Snoopy probably just stays in the hill and just makes Nero run at him, they probably still win too. So, I mean, a lot, little shit goes wrong, man, and it costs them the game. But that's insane timing.
And Boston kind of tilt from there. Pat, what were your thoughts on the series?
Sorry, I was explaining to someone in chat who asked why it was 0.0 on the clock, but the game didn't end, and it's because the scoreboard clock and game clock doesn't account for milliseconds.
Yep.
So it was like 0.0, 1 through 9 or whatever it was. Anyway, I mean, I don't understand this ROKKR team. That's my thoughts. They somehow managed still to go game 5 all the fucking time. But I do think Nero deserves credit for playing insane today. I mean, look, I've said it before. I still think he's a 50-50 player. And look, when you flip a coin, like, you're bound to hit the side you want 50% of the time. And today, he just fucking hit that side. But I mean, like, I don't think ROKKR are gonna make the run. I think Boston.
They gotta get second, Pat.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. But I do think Boston is crumbling. I think this team is done. I don't know what the rules are for roster changes, but if they can make an emergency change for champs, do it. if not make a fucking team change the day after champs for EWC.
Bro, they're losing the first round of champs, man. I mean, it's Thieves or FaZe, right? You got to think.
Are they the 8th seed now? Is that what happened?
Yeah, they're locked in for 8th seed at this point, I think.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, they're fucked. I think it'll be cool to see, if they stay alive for how long tomorrow, but for on ROKKR side. But yeah, I mean, this team is just they're a whirlwind to watch.
Riley, what thoughts do you have on the series before we move on?
Pretty much
Where the fuck everybody go, Ben?
They're all going to the bathroom, bro. I don't know why they're waiting until now to do it.
We're taking mid-flank bathroom breaks?
Yeah, I don't know, but Riley, what are your thoughts?
We have to start throwing out fines.
Same basic thing. I feel like after the hard point, you could just see in the search, map 5, like they kind of lost composure and broke down a little bit. The team, I think we commended them early on in the season for sticking it out past EWC, coming into the year with a team that had some reps. They took a few big series early in the year. I think Pat and Zen talked a little bit about this on the last show or the one previous, just about what that means and how we evaluate Boston sort of based on the fact that they're coming into this year as a pre-built roster carryover from EWC last year. But I mean, for ROKKR to lose in the fashion that they did earlier in the day and then come back and have the ice against Boston, I just think it kind of shows the state that both teams are in. Minnesota know they have to make a run. Boston are just sort of they've fallen off a little bit towards the tail end of the season, and it's a shame that they haven't been able to pull it together at a time like this when it matters, and now they're sliding into champs as the 8th seed. So.
Yeah, let me pull up the stand. I want to just kind of demonstrate to people sort of the situation as to what we're talking about with this Boston ROKKR thing. So Boston having lost, OpTic having won, means that OpTic now jump Boston in the standings and can finish no lower than 7th because Boston is now out. Minnesota, and we'll get to their final series, are now at 165. Going in, they needed 65 points, and you can't get 65 in the format. You get 70, so they got to get second, and that was the only way they would beat Boston. They would beat Boston by 5 points. Or actually,
so
yeah,
that
they
match
beat Boston by
tomorrow, that OpTic FaZe match matters a lot then, right? Because even if OpTic lose, they still would have to win 2 in losers to pass Ravens.
Yeah.
True, that match matters a lot for them then.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise they're going to rematch.
I'm OpTic. I want to dodge. I want to dodge both Thieves and FaZe. Yeah.
Thieves and FaZe are 100% seeds 1 and 2. Like Toronto, Vancouver, Miami, Carolina, OpTic can't catch up to them.
What do you have the bracket on hand? Like who? I know they play ROKKR potentially if they lose, but who would they play after that?
Who? ROKKR?
OpTic. No, the loser of OpTic FaZe.
So they play ROKKR, and they play the other side of losers. So it's going to be either like Miami or Thieves, or it's going to be either LAG or Toronto.
Yeah, so it's a tough match no matter what.
They're going to have to beat, in order to get second, they're going to have to beat like 3 really good teams to get there. So any final thoughts before we move on?
Are these guys still shitting? Is Duforte back?
Tom's back.
No,
but,
no final thoughts.
Speaking of
they're calling you Puma and Duforte.
Yeah, dude, I might have been the coffee or something, but man.
Speaking of taking a shit, Vancouver Surge losing a gritty Game 5 to the Vegas Falcons. 3-2 scoreline. Tom, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, I'll take it from here. Vegas Falcons take down a Vancouver Surge. I mean, honestly, I didn't expect this, to be honest with you. I thought Vancouver was going to bounce back after getting slammed by LA Thieves, and listen, this is not the team you want to lose to, especially Vancouver. I mean, they've been arguably I mean, how many finals have they made it to? 2 or 3 this year?
2.
2, right?
2 finals, yeah.
3 if we count fucking minor tournament cheese.
No, but you have to throw an asterisk on that, bro.
4? Did they make it to both minor finals? No, they made it to 1 because Carolina made the other.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pat.
Well, I was just gonna say, bro, we gotta start changing what making it to a finals mean. Like, if you get embarrassed the way they've gotten embarrassed in both finals, I feel like it kind of diminishes that top 2. But yeah, I mean, dude,
this was crazy. Pat, this was crazy.
A Neslo team. When did they become a Neslo team?
They've been sneakily good at search and destroy. They've they've had series where they've only won that search, literally only won a search.
Bro, why can't Vancouver get kills?
Another one.
And they did
another one, bro. I mean, back-to-back red carpets from Vancouver is crazy, bro. Especially against the Falcons. Bro, Vancouver's not a team that should be having a red carpet against the Vegas Falcons. I'm sorry, bro. I don't know what's going on, but Like they just not getting kills. Like they had a hard time today.
I think they got cooked in the control. I think that's why it's just so lopsided.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
the
they
control.
got slammed in the control.
Yeah, they did get slammed.
I mean, I think like
Damn.
Vancouver looked good at both hard
Alex.
points. But
Yeah,
again,
Alex
this
looked
is what I'm talking about. Vancouver, they're just not like. They are not. They are a solid control and S&D team when they need to be, but they are not elite at both game modes. And in a series like this, when the wheels start to fall off, it's like you get to that game 5. It was scroll up, Tom, so people can see the map. It was dealership. Vegas had gotten a lot of reps on that map. It was a grind out, and the subs, especially on Vegas, made a lot of plays to win that one. So just
man, I'm happy about
for Vancouver today.
I'm happy about this result. Regardless. P Dog can go out on a high now. He finally got a dub after 3 years or whatever. So I think it would have been rough going out completely winless for 3 years. But he got a dub on the board. So he can hold his head high. But yeah, I mean, bro, just no one on Surge showed up, bro. Period. This whole tournament, I feel like, like they just looked awful across the board.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I know you said they have how long until champs been?
3 weeks, I think. 4 weeks.
Yeah, like they gotta hit the drawing board if they want to regain. But I still think their biggest issue is gonna be overcoming adversity when they get hit with it at tournaments, bro. Because unless you go through a tournament and you're perfect, which rarely, if ever, fucking happens. Like they have to figure out how to deal with adversity because, I mean, bro, they like losing to the Falcons for a caliber that we were holding Surge at is fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, I was shocked.
We can say all day long that they got smoked by the Thieves, and that doesn't really matter because Thieves is godlike. But like showing up after 2 hours later and getting Neslo'd embarrassed by the Falcons is fucking crazy for this team.
Hey, what'd you think, Duarte?
I mean, yeah, Surge did not show up to play at all this weekend. I'm not going to overanalyze it considering, we have a larger sample size for the rest of their season. It's tough, but I mean, they're going to have a lot of work to put in to not only get over the hurdle that they've struggled with at prior events, but also not to let this happen again because this is fucking unacceptable. On the side of the Falcons, I mean, I'm still tipping it, man. At the end of the day, this is their first LAN win. They did in a Neslo fashion. This is a team that when they first formed, they were winning like a hard point. They were winning like Skyline. We were like, oh, man, maybe they just might be really good at hard point, and they're going to be fucked at everything else. I don't see this team being an S&D team just because I know the history of like Pred not being the best S&D player, even though he's had a stage I think back in MW3 where he played pretty good in Search, but outside of that,
he went 14-4. A
lot of people criticize them for not being the best in Search, and today he put those critics to rest because he did have a Neslo here and he did have that 14-4 on that other map. But yeah, he played great. He played great all day today. I was impressed. Still, at the end of the day, I don't think this team is going to be, anything crazy, come EWC time. They still need to make changes if they want to be somewhat competitive. But at the end of the day, we got to see good stuff out of Xnit and Pred, who I have no doubts will still be on this team, come next year.
Hey, listen, I think it's still cool that Vegas is still going hard, right? Like, yeah. I mean, they're still bringing like that passion, that energy. I mean, seeing Xnit just erupt and scream after winning maps and just going crazy out there was cool to see. Like, no matter where they are in the standings, these guys are still practicing every day, going hard every day. I actually visited the Falcons facility this week during the IRL stream, if any of you guys were tuning into that. You could just see how hard they've been working, right? Like, I mean, Xnit, when I walked in, it was still glued to the monitor, and they weren't even scrimming. It was their day off. And it's just really cool to see that passion, because sometimes I feel like that passion is lost sometimes when I look at some teams and some players in the league. So it's a breath of fresh air, and dude, I'm just excited for them. I'm happy that they're still here and still competing, and they can go to EWC and actually make some noise, right? Like, these guys are here and they're competing with some very good teams. So it's just really cool to see from a team that's at the bottom of the standings.
Their problem is just like the way the EWC groups work. Like because they are. Well, are they the bottom seed now? LAG's still in the tournament, so that actually gets interesting because if you're the bottom seed, you're going to get the team that wins champs in your group, right? I think that's how it works.
Is that how it works?
I can't remember.
I don't remember. I'm pretty. Maybe someone in chat knows, but Like they're not going to get a great draw being the worst seed. They're gonna get at least one very good team in their pool, a top 4 team.
Yeah, that shit doesn't really matter when like their other competition isn't like a challengers team. Like I think last EWC wasn't it?
Not one other pro team in their group. They don't get like 2 challengers teams.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they'll get 2
Yeah.
pro teams in their group. Okay, so never mind. It still matters, but I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's really going to matter much for them.
What about you, Riley? You got any thoughts on the series?
Not really. I mean, I'm happy AG got a win with this roster. It's always good to see him doing well. I love the kid, and yeah, I mean, Preston getting his first win on LAN after all that time is a crazy thing to have to think about, given how good they were in MW2 and the rosters that he's been on the last couple years that haven't quite been able to pull it together. And I also want to give them credit because there's, I think, teams historically over the history of the CDL and this year that there's other teams in the league that are in better positions than they're in that have already kind of mentally maybe checked out a little bit. And it's good to just see like they're still locked in, they're still going for it. Playing for this stuff might not matter in the grand scheme of things when it comes to champs, but it still matters a lot to these guys individually. So it's just awesome to see them competing and playing with passion and getting a win. I mean, you saw how loud XNID got after they won on stage.
Oh, yeah.
Like you'd have thought they won champs. So
We heard them from here.
Yeah, I mean, I love their energy. I love that they're still playing this way. Obviously, there's a lot of moves that will probably be made in the offseason to kind of bolster this team, improve this roster, give them some more weapons to play with. And yeah, I think just another sort of unexpected, disappointing series from the Surge. I think across the board on our watch party, everybody was like, okay, it's Vancouver's series. Like, we can move on to the next one. And then we had to lock in because that's just not the way that it played out. So going back-to-back grand finals and then getting DFR'd at the next event is a tough draw for Vancouver. They've got a lot to think about between now and champs and probably again before EWC when it comes to how they're playing right now and the mistakes that they made today that they need to avoid coming down the last 2 events of the year.
For sure. Were you going to say something, Benji? I thought you were going to say something.
No.
Okay, looked like you were trying to grab the mouse. I thought you wanted to talk about something. But any other final thoughts? Got any final thoughts? All right, let's move on to the next one. We got a couple more series to get through. We got Carolina going up against Toronto. This was actually a close series as well. I thought for a second here Carolina was actually going to take this one. Arguably, they probably should have taken this one as they get it's Toronto Ultra. They get the 3-2 victory here. It goes all the way down to a last map, round 11 in that protocol search where Toronto were able to clutch up. It's actually Insight who 1v2s in round 11 to get the job done. But we start things off at a Vault Hardpoint, 250 to 155 there. Kleenex just had a masterclass in that one, just popping off, doing what he does. Dealership S&D, big bounce backs from Carolina. They win that one 6-3. Protocol Control, 3-2 to Carolina. So they go up 2 here, and then Toronto bounce back in the next 2, 250 to 175 and a rewind hard point. And, of course, the round 11 in the Protocol Search. We'll take a look here at the stat sheet. We got a 1.02 from Gwyn, a 1.15 from the veteran Slasher, most damage on his team as well. Actually, most damage in the lobby. TJ Haley with a 0.87. You got Dylan Rex with a 0.9. On the other side, you got a 0.88 from Beans and a 0.77 from Insight. So the AR's struggling a little bit there in the slaying department. You got a 1.18 from Kleenex and a 1.25 from Joe Thieves. We'll scroll down and take a look at the match MVP. It's going to be Joe D with a 1.49 in hardpoint, a 0.64 in search, and a 1.21 in control. So a good series coming in from Joe, despite the poor S&Ds. But Duarte, we'll start with you on this one. What do you think of the series? Toronto Ultra, they come out, they clutch up, but it was scary. It was scary for Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting the Ravens to push it this far, but they managed to pretty much win that control, and the S&D was convincing, but that control was really close. As far as the hard points, they got slammed in both of them. And the S&D, it was looking like Toronto was going to walk away with it, and then Ravens won an impossible, like 2v4 or something like that they probably shouldn't have won. And then they started to show some life, and then it comes down to that 1v2. And Insight's just so icy. But on the side of Toronto, if you can pull up the stats, I mean, it's the story we were just talking about, bro. It's the sub show. Like, at the end of the day, this is the backbone of the team. If these guys are frying, they have a chance. But if soon as these guys like start to cool off,
backbone, it's the whole damn skeleton.
But you get the point. If these guys aren't frying, Kleenex and Joe, then this team is going to struggle. And even with them frying, it was barely enough to get them over the line. They got a lot to figure out in a very short span of time because they play again tomorrow, and I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. But still, I wouldn't be surprised with how Toronto has played, the past couple events, even with the substitute and with their prior team, if they're able to make a run. But I'm not sold on it yet. I'm really just not sure what the hell is going to happen with this team.
Hey, what'd you think, Pat? This one got scary, Pat? Toronto Ultra almost lost this one.
Bro, it was a Game 5, Round 11. And y'all know those could go either fucking way.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're going Game 5, Round 11 with Carolina is fucking concerning, bro.
Agreed, Pat. Agreed. And Inside had a clutch of 1v2, Round 11. He had a clutch up.
Yeah, I just have no faith in these guys' ARs. It's just that simple. I don't know what happened. But yeah, I mean, this team is just not the same that they were in the first half of this year.
I mean, Riley, what do you think? Because I feel like we could see a new Toronto tomorrow, right? Like the ARs might come out tomorrow and just look crazy, right? Like, do you think this is just like a little slump for Toronto? Do you think they're kind of falling off a little bit, or do you think what do you think it is? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's been a really tough year to sort of evaluate where teams are at in any given moment, just because of how up and down it's been overall. And Toronto's one of those teams that, like, the roster composition on paper looks really good. Insight and Kleenex have been a duo for forever, and we know what they're capable of doing. It was just kind of a weird series for me. I'm still a believer in Toronto being one of the clear, top 5 teams in the league at this point, even despite their struggles at times. But yeah, I mean, it just literally came down to the wire. It could have gone either way. I think I'm more surprised at Carolina, where they started the year, compared to where they're at now, than I am with what's going on with Toronto. I just think Toronto needs to pull a couple more pieces together. I think you guys and we all have talked about Insight and his pacing and needing a little bit more out of him at times. So I think if they can do that, they're poised to maybe get one more win under their belt tomorrow. I don't know that I have them making any kind of a run, but I think they played okay today, despite the round 1 loss, and we'll see what they bring to the table tomorrow. But it's just too hard to project into the future. I feel like you never really know. You can have an Insight series where he drops a 1.3, and the subs are, I think, like you guys have been saying, the most consistent part of the roster. Joe's been doing his thing. And yeah, I mean, it sucks to be Slasher and Teej and the Ravens right now, making a last-minute change to try to push you over the hump and really make a difference that I think, if anything, they've just kind of plateaued. So
yeah.
I know we need to move on, Tom, but, like, bro, can we talk about, like, that round 11? Like, I don't want to break it down too much. But, like,
it's just Jamie icy.
Jamie was icy and never got
Well, he
solved.
never cleared top. He never
He never
cleared
cleared
it.
top, but I feel like Dylan Rex. I'm curious what you think, because Dylan was all the way in the back of their spawn gun. There's only 2 places Jamie could be. He could either be, like, coming out of P3 or be on the other side. And I feel like Dylan didn't put himself in a position to take either gunfight.
I don't know.
honest,
They
dude.
cleared all that.
That's why Dylan's
the
play, I
only
think,
thing
is
they
perplexing
didn't
to me.
clear, and you know how Jamie plays, right? Like I feel like they should have known that Jamie was playing like deep spawn on an island, and you could see Gwyn, like he's reading it, like he thinks somebody's there, but then he comes up the zip. I think he's low right now. What we're looking at right now, I think he's down low.
No, he's up.
Right?
He's
no,
low.
he's low.
He's
Because
low.
then,
He's
look, he
low.
trades the guy.
floor.
Look, he trades the guy. Look, and then he doesn't check up top. He never clears top windows. He never clears the building. Because look, Jamie just plays a corner up top, and Jamie's expecting a fight, and then he just never clears it. I mean, granted,
I'm also going to keep it $150. If he hindsight, if he clears that, they probably lose.
Wait, hold on.
regardless.
Hold on. It was Gwyn, bro. Gwyn was the last one alive on Heli. And what play is Gwyn trying to make here?
I mean, he
he
ran
just
out of
It
time.
doesn't even
He had
matter.
no
He just
time.
doesn't know where he's got to go. Like he doesn't know where
Heard,
Jamie
but
is.
he gave himself no chance though. We can criticize.
Bro,
like,
they didn't know he was here. I'm gonna be honest.
but
Even if he goes
but
up
I'm
here
saying,
and
where
hypothetically
else
he
could he
clears
be
this,
though? Where else could he be? They cleared their own building. They cleared the back of their
yeah,
spawn.
but Jamie has fucking legs. Like it's not like he could have got a timing and
Yeah, he
got
can
closer
move.
to his teammate.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, bro, it's just a good play by Jamie. The fact that he didn't show himself and he waited until the last possible moment, he set himself up with this clutch. He knew the bomb was down for him, and he just went and clutched it. My thing is with Ravens, dude, and this just summarizes their team as a whole. And if I'm going to ask you guys one question about what the problem is with Ravens, I'm going to ask you one question: who would you drop from this roster?
I have no idea.
And exactly, and that's why this team is just shit.
I think they just there is. I don't really.
There's
think
not
you,
one.
think
There's
they're
not
just kinda
one
fucked,
identifiable
honestly.
issue with this team. And when you look at their team, I think you can make a case for getting rid of every single player on this team, and that is why they're
Well,
struggling.
the good news is that's what's happening, bro. They're clearing house and they're selling the franchise in 3 months. We'll be good. Next year we'll have a brand new team.
Yep, the Saudis are coming in. But let's move on because we just got notice that we have 10 more minutes left in the venue. So let's move on to the next one. We got LAG going up against Cloud9. This one wasn't close. Cloud9 got pooped on yet again. LAG with a 3-0 victory here over Cloud9. 250 to 223 in the rewind hard point, 6-2 in the red card S&D, and 3-2 in a Hacienda control. LAG coming out to play here, knocking out Cloud9. We'll scroll down, take a look at the stat sheet. It is yet another red carpet. What is going on? Teams are having a hard time slaying here at Dreamhack Major 4. You got Spart with a .97, Sib with a .75, Kremp with a .83, and Capsule with a .94. On the other side, everybody positive. You got Old Johnny with a 1.14, Lunars with a fantastic. This is what we want to see from Lunars. We've been waiting for a series like this.
generational map too.
Yeah, 1.27 from Lunars, a 1.05 for the Bulldog, Kismet, and a 1.15 from Tyler Fellow. Everybody from LAG showing out on land here and doing what they got to do. Match MVP Lunars. I'm happy for him, man. We feel like I feel like we've been waiting to see Lunars kind of pop off and have his moment, and it was cool to see him pop off here today. He had a 1.42 in hard point, a 4.33 in surge, and a 0.87 in that control. But why don't we go down the line? Chris, we'll start with you. We'll work down the line. We'll end with you, Pat. What'd you think?
Quick thoughts.
All right, well, Lunars
Quick
fried.
thoughts for sure,
Lunars
yeah.
fried this series. He played insane. Kismet had a really good first map. Great series out of pretty much everyone on LAG. With C9, they just came out flat. They didn't play good. Maybe Land got the better of them, but I think this team's just a young team, and the moment got to them, and they just failed to regain after that first series.
Yeah. What about you, Benjay?
I don't know. I already gave my thoughts on Cloud9 earlier. I think for LAG is the kind of momentum series you want at the beginning of a tournament, especially starting in losers. They got a tough match against Toronto tomorrow. Could they maybe surprise and make a run? We'll see. But if Lunars can play the way he played today, they might have a chance.
Hey, Riley.
Good series from LAG. I don't know how much I expect them to continue to do this, down the stretch of the tournament tomorrow, but really good win for them. And, we'll see if they can get it done tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Pat?
I can answer that. They absolutely cannot get it done tomorrow. It was a good win. You got one on the board. You improved and finished 6-30 or whatever it was in the league. But yeah, this LAG team has been complex, like a complexing fucking roster all year long. But it's glad to see them getting a win. But yeah, I think their road is over.
Yeah, we'll see if they can make a run. It's just based on how the stage has been going. It's just looking very unlikely. And then we get to Minnesota ROKKR going up against the Vegas Falcons to end the day, and Vegas, right, still competing. They're still there. They pushed Minnesota to a last map, but good to see Minnesota finding some ice today and getting the job done. 250 to 222 in the rewind hard point, 6-3 in the red card S&D. Vegas were able to win that one, bounce it back. Tied up 1-1. Vegas then win the control to go up 2-1. A lot of teams went up 2-1 today and then lost the last two, which was interesting. Vegas 3-1 in the control, and then 250 to 159 in the Hacienda hardpoint, and 6-1 in the dealership S&D. Minnesota winning the last two maps. We got RCDs with a .87, Priesta with a .72. The AR struggling here in this one. But he had a 1.02 from Exnit and a 1.12 from AG Pred on Vegas. On the other side, a 1.22 from Nero. Again, just unbelievable from him. Over 100 kills in this one as well. Kenny with a 1.07. He played incredible in this series. A 1.10 from Gio and a .89 from Estru. Estru's been struggling a little bit getting kills. Ben, I think you mentioned that he's been struggling a little bit recently, especially in this stage. Match MVP, it's not up yet, but I'm sure it's Nero because that guy was going absolutely insane. We'll take a look at that first map, 47 and 23. That's a lot better than 4 and 23, I'll tell you that. Nero going crazy in this one. He had a 2.04 in the map one, and his whole team had .8s. That is.
Did he have 100 kills in all 3 series?
He might have. Yes, I think he might have had 100 kills in all 3 series. Pat, what'd you think? What'd you think of the series?
I think ROKKR is just probably a better team. I was thinking Falcons were gonna win after they Neslo'd that first one. Like maybe they get some momentum, make a little run here. But
yeah.
I think it was game 5. Was it Kenny that took over?
Yeah, Kenny went crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, Kenny's now had a few of these where like game 5, he's just taken over for them. I know he had it on the one online, but yeah, it's good to see.
Yeah. What about you, Riley? What you think?
I mean, the question I have for the series is like, how many times are we going to see teams let Ken go like 6-0, 7-0 in search? Like, he's always been a great player. He's always been a phenomenal search player. But like, when you give a team and a player that much of a head start, you're digging yourself almost an impossible hole to get out of, because you're giving one guy so much momentum and so much confidence in one of the most, if not the most important mode in any series like this. And so just really impressive overall from Ken. He's had a great series, and Nero, we've talked about it a lot already today, but just having those he's in the peak right now. He's in peak form and playing to his best potential. So good win from Minnesota.
For sure. What about you, Benjay?
I thought, once again, good grit from ROKKR to close it out and make it to tomorrow, and we'll see what happens with the FaZe or OpTic team that they face to try and make top 4. I think for Vegas, if you go to the overview, I think it pretty much does up our thoughts about what this team needs to do. They need 2 roster changes. Curious to see who Alec and Preston will be replaced with, because I think that's really how Vegas is going to slowly get better.
Yep, Duarte.
Great series at Nero again. He had an incredible first map, dropped almost 50 again. The guy's just a beast. Kenny had an insane map 5. Good grit series out of ROKKR. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. That's all I got for you.
Yeah, and then we'll take a look at tomorrow's matches. Sorry for rushing the last 10 minutes, guys. We just we're on a clock here in the venue. I really do.
You're on the completed tab. You go back to upcoming.
Oh yeah, you're right, Benjay.
Tom, what are you talking about at the venue? You're not at a venue right now.
Yeah, you're right,
true.
Pat.
Yeah,
Pat, you're
true.
absolutely right. We're actually, we're actually outside the venue, just in a tent.
We're in Riley's backyard.
Yeah, we're in a tent right now, outside of the venue. But yeah, huge shout out to them letting us do what we got to do here and get the flank going. The show must go on. But let's take a look here at tomorrow's matches. We got a losers round 2, LAG versus Toronto. Loser goes home, winner moves on. Winners round 2 with LA Thieves in Miami. That's going to be a banger. I can't wait for that one. I think both those teams this stage have looked incredible. FaZe versus OpTic. I mean, I think that's the El Clasico of COD. So I can't wait to see what happens in that one. That's going to be, I feel like this venue is going to be absolutely insane during that matchup tomorrow. And then we'll obviously see what happens for those next 2 matchups. That just depends on the results of the first 3 matches. So we'll get there. But let's do some quick predictions. I'm just going to fire them off. I got Toronto Ultra over LAG. I mean, Toronto's got to bounce back against LAG. If they lose against LAG, I'd be very worried for them. I don't know what's going on. But LAG did look better today, so we'll see what happens there. But I got Toronto. I got LA Thieves over Miami. Miami's had a good run. They haven't lost yet this stage, but LA Thieves just look so dominant right now. They are on point. They look confident. Again, the Papania here has got them right, so I got LA Thieves in that one. And then FaZe OpTic, I mean, I'm going to go with FaZe in that one, but I can see that one going either way, right? I think my bias is showing a little bit. Riley, I don't know who you got in that one. You probably got OpTic in that one.
Yeah, for sure.
But
it's going to be a good
already
one.
got in trouble a couple times this year for not picking OpTic. So.
Riley, why don't you go give your predictions?
We've all had our fair share of doing that. It's understandable given the year we've had, but I think like in the form we look at right now, I'll work backwards. I've got us in the FaZe series. I think that one has Game 5 written all over it. 2 teams hungry to go to battle tomorrow. It should be a great one. And either way, that match is going to give some team a lot of motivation and a lot of momentum going into the lower bracket. So should be a great match. I got OpTic. I'm taking Thieves and Toronto.
Cool. What about you, Benjay?
I have Toronto over LAG. That's like a nice 3-1. Thieves over Miami. I actually now go Game 5, and Thieves will ice up a Paco masterclass in the Game 5. And I think I got FaZe 3-1 over OpTic. OpTic will win first map, and then FaZe will take the next 3.
Okay, what about you, Chris?
Be different. I'm going to pick Ultra, Thieves, and OpTic.
Okay, what about you, Pat?
I got Ultra, Thieves, and OpTic losing 3-0.
I thought you were actually picking OpTic. I was like, wow.
You had me in the first half, Pat.
Yeah, you had me there too. I actually fell for that. But yeah, guys, also little Stallions update, because I see people asking. Stallions did win their first 2 rounds today. We actually played the #1 seed in NA, Omit, tomorrow in a winners round 3. So
I'm gonna ask and find out if that's gonna be on Feature Station or not. So
yeah,
yes.
hopefully. Hey, listen, if we get the job done against Omid tomorrow, I mean, hey, we might send Benjay streaking through the crowd or something.
Bro, I'm gonna get in trouble with Adam again. We can't do that.
You know,
bro.
because listen, guys.
I already took my shirt off once in an Adam venue.
I mean, today was crazy. Listen, they clutched a 2v4 in the map 2 today in a round 11, and then they clutched an overtime in the in the control. So it was really cool to see. They were getting chirped. They went down 0-1 today against the top 5 seed in Europe. And, yeah, bro, they started chirping. So it was good to see the boys have some composure and bounce back. But we'll keep you guys updated on
They
the
got that big
Stallions.
justice buff.
Yes, they do. 5 booms. Get some booms in the chat. But, guys, that's going to do it for us. Huge thank you to Riley for hopping on. You're a natural at this, Riley. You're great, man. We're going to have you on
Thank you
more
so
often. Shout out to everybody who's tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the watch party and the shows. And we'll be back tomorrow, chat. We'll be right back here. We got some banger matches tomorrow, so it's going to be a good one. You're not going to want to miss it. So we'll see you tomorrow. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, anchor.fm/theflank. Check out audio.ss. Go follow at the flank on X. Gert's doing a phenomenal job running socials per usual. ZooMaa.gg for the merch. New merch coming soon. Stallions jerseys should be going up there as well. And, of course, join the community, the ZMF community on X. It's spotlighted to the top of my profile, the top of the flank profile. So make sure to go check it out. Take care. Brush your hair. And we'll see you guys tomorrow on another episode of The Flank, man. Take it easy. Salud.
Peace.
Ciao, ciao.
What a show.